What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And, of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and, of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
Yes. Took a little break yesterday. Needed a little re-upping today. I see McLovin in the house. Much love to him. He is running these boards right now as a Dolphin fan. And we say, yeah, we know what he's saying. He's saying go Cowboys. But we got a lot to talk about tonight since we skipped yesterday. Had Stephen Jones speak about very, very important things. And then, of course, Scouting Combine. Some other grading systems that came out for all the teams. We'll talk about that and more here, along with Jerry Jones, paternity test. Yes, so everything. We'll discuss it all here at MCF. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Either way, guys.
Are you the father?
He's on Maury now. Guys, thank you for joining us for another one. And let's shout out those that run the boards. Like our sponsor of the week. You see him in the chat. It's the man. Much love.
McLovin.
To McLovin. Hell yeah. His sponsor of the week. And he's doing that back-to-back. Like not his Dolphins, but like our Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, of course. And he's also the king of the Cash App up above there. So much love to McLovin again. He's done that, the Cash App king, for 3 straight weeks. Domination from McLovin. And that's After Dark and the MCF shows here. So
yep.
On the My Cowboy Family side of things, Dwayne Broussard, the top dog, 74 points in the stream, boss. And he's up a couple points. You know why, baby? Because the man dropped a $4 pre-stream holler and a Go Cowboys.
Ooh,
you know,
thank you, Dwayne. I appreciate you, of course,
yes.
as always. Sharing that pre-stream love.
Yes. Appreciate you. Give you the heart, the love back there. And again, he's at 74 points. You look at the weekly gifting champion. There is none right now. We've had a couple weeks of nobody dropping gifted memberships. Ooh, well, I don't know, but either way, we got still a bunch of people in the membership who, again, if you're in there, you can drop gifted memberships to other family members in the chat. You see anybody in gray can get it, and green. I guess no, green is in blue you can get it, and of course in gray you might be a lucky recipient of a gifted membership. But right now, no one's taking the championship crown. Right now, we have a tie between the Lunatic and JD from DC, who was, by the way, he was our last champion, and they're tied for 5 gifted memberships. Whoever gets to 6 takes it. Skeptical fans got 2. Everybody else has got none. But if you get 6 total, you get that gifting leaderboard. And again, like we said, there's a little special tweak going on here when it comes to some of the things that are going on for the champions of the boards here for the month when we do our raffles, which we have one coming up here. Literally, I think tomorrow or by the weekend, we will have it for the month of February. We'll explain in a minute. But again, appreciate all you guys repping the boards. And we talk about leaders. The leaderboard, it is still McLovin at the top. Yes. Cash App leader. He's trying to go for 4 in a row. It's a whole month of domination from McLovin. And the sponsor of the week, he's trying to make that a 3-peat. Still a little bit away from the all-time record of 15 in a row by Mark Hovsepian, who, by the way, reps it in Hawaii. But McLovin, if you see the movie, you know where that ID is from. Anyways, much love to McLovin. He is currently in the lead on the overall board. I do want to do some shout-outs, though. Not just Dwayne Broussard, but others that have dropped the love here from above on our After Dark show or behind the scenes. Sco971, Smokey, Gloria, SnugX, Grateful Nomad, Skeptical Fan, Miko, and of course, McLovin, who currently has the overall leads on all the boards right now. Appreciate you guys for the After Dark specials and live streams and fun, parties and all that stuff. That's leaving me a little bit. I'm going to take a break tonight from all that joyous fun. So now that we've done the shout outs as far as the leaders and those that have dropped the love this yesterday, today, baby, we got to talk about how the different ways of people getting into this thing here. Not just the super chats or gifted memberships or the thanks button or jumping in the membership side of things. And Seabass just jumped into the over everything level. Much love to Seabass. So there's 4 other ways you can get involved when it comes to the Cash App side. How is that, baby?
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link, which lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
Exactly. So as we continue this thing here and get to the end, we always do the nightly shout-outs for those that are in both the star, the star and over everything level memberships. Now, we have a monthly jersey raffle coming up at the end of this week, so you guys still have a chance to jump in the star or over everything level. Like Seabass just got in there. If you're in the over everything, you get 2 raffle entries. If you're in the star, you get 1. But either way, that's the only people involved in this one right now, for the month of February. For the month of March, which starts in this board right now we're doing this week, we got weekly winners. And they will get bonus entries into these raffles. Keep that in mind. So you have sponsor of the week, like the man McLovin. If he wins this week, and as far as that, he gets a name in the raffle for one of these jerseys. Again, any team, any player, not any player, any team, any sport by the Cowboy Mosh, man. So much love to him. And yeah, this is where you can pick from multiple amount of teams. Yeah, he's a Dolphin fan, so if he won, he probably want Dan Marino or somebody who never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, anyways, much love to everybody and those in the star and over everything level membership. In fact, we do the nightly shout outs here for those in those levels. So, maybe without further ado, who are the big names to shout out tonight?
Thank you very much, Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Lincoln Kane, Andy Potched, Mary Alvarez, Marissa Sparkle, Dwayne Broussard, The Lunatic, and over everything,
Ooh.
Seabass.
Much love, Seabass in the house. And that over everything level. That means he's going to be on the show, and we owe him one from last time. So that's going to be 2 times he's going to be on the show in the next 4 weeks or so. Appreciate the man, Seabass. And everybody else in all the levels. I'm talking about the navy blue level, the silver level 2, that's starring over everything. Both those, all 4 levels. Baby, as we keep it moving, who's in the house tonight to ready to discuss some Cowboy news, info, and updates?
Shout out to Dustin Roberts, much love. Bruce got the toxic juice, hello. Rolando Rodriguez all the way from South Texas. Matt Batten, thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah.
Chris Davis in the house. Demetrius Alexander, what's up? We have McLovin coming by, hello and hi.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, catch you later, we got you, man. Let me see who else is here. Thomas Garrett, the superior Garrett. Seabass, you already know why he's here. And yes, let's hope they do their jobs at the combine there, our front office, right? Dwayne Broussard, the top dog himself.
Yeah.
Dingleberry Sports, much love to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to just really quickly say Dwayne Broussard with that drop earlier pre-stream jumps into 9th place, jumps over Snug X.
Ooh, there you go.
Into that spot there as he gets in the top 10 board there.
We also have Brandon J. What's up? Andy Potched in the house.
Yeah.
Hello and hi. Big D. Yeah, let's get this party started. Snug X. You know why he's here. Skeptical Fan. Always staying skeptical.
Yeah.
Freedom First. Looks like he was first today. Good for you. Aztec Aguilar 04 in the house as well. Thanks for being here. So, and as more people roll in, I'll continue to do some more shout outs. But honestly, we have quite the Cowboy packed news, night.
And it's not just one, baby. It's 2 nights in one here for us because we did. Tuesdays are going to be hard for us to make on a regular, so that's kind of the day off at the very least here on MCF. But we got to make it up on Wednesday, and that's what we're going to do now. Let's start off with something that just literally kind of broke. I don't know, an hour before we went live or so. I don't say break. It's not like it just seeped out. But basically, guys, seeped out is basically what this is going to describe this entire discussion. When it comes to Jerry Jones, he's seeping out all over the place and having kids. Jerry Jones is going to be required to take a DNA test in that paternity case. And this officially was ruled by a judge today. Oh, and McLovin is a member. Look at that. McLovin, they must know it. Somehow the analytics knows it. McLovin's a member here because of Skeptical Fan, who just dropped the first gift of membership in like 2 weeks. So appreciate you, brother. And hey, he still got a shot for the top spot because
he's technically officially the leader because I know that the Lunatic and JD from DC have basically been representing as the membership gifting.
Well, here's the thing. For this week, Skeptical is the leader. But for the crown, he can still get that. He's at 3 for the crown. Yeah. So he's at 3, which means he's 3 away. 3 gifted memberships away from actually winning the gifting, the gifting champion for this week. So that's still in the running. And I'm still counting, of course, anything dropped, in this week, whatever it counts towards this week's numbers as well. So it's kind of like doubling it up. But again, he's 3 away.
I appreciate you, of course.
And big congrats to McLovin in the house. So,
like Mr. MCF was saying,
what was going on with Jerry?
Jerry Jones, as we know, had a secret love child that came and filed a lawsuit against him to be able to prove paternity. Now, Jerry has been able to, with his lawyer legalese, to manage to avoid actually confirming this information. But a Dallas County judge did uphold the decision. Jerry does have to take a paternity test to determine if he is the father.
So he got to show up. So he's got to give some DNA. By the way, skeptical fan in the house, another gifted membership that puts him at 4. Woo. 1 back on the lead, 2 back from the championship there. Who got the lucky?
Mike Aldana.
Mike Aldana back in the house there.
Thank you, Skeptical. Shout out to you,
Much love
Mike.
to Skeptical in the house. Much love to him, and yes, big congrats to Mike Aldana.
And hey, drop him if you got him. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. But yes, guys, like I was just saying, a Dallas County judge does uphold that decision. Jerry Jones does have to undergo a paternity test to determine whether he is the biological father of the 27-year-old woman who sued him back in 2022. There's technically also a little bit of another legal battle there. Like we said, she's not just suing to prove paternity. She's also suing him for defamation because part of it was dismissed and then they refiled it in November. But she's basically just saying, Jerry Jones obviously defamed her character by saying that she was a lying, cheating, money grubbing, what, instead of, his natural born daughter. Again, no ruling has been made as far as because Jerry's lawyers are arguing no, dismiss this lawsuit. No ruling has been made in that regard as far as the defamation lawsuit, but it does look like he will have to legally prove whether he is or is not.
Now we're going to know if he is the actual legal, father.
Jerry also has
of this child, right?
Quite the look. His lawyers are making bank because guess what? He also has that, looming trial for that personal injury lawsuit where a woman is accusing Jerry of sexually assaulting her at AT&T Stadium.
He's
denied those allegations, but that is also in the works, still happening.
Yeah.
2 things happening here. Speaking of back-to-back, first of all, thank you, Skeptical fan, who said, hold up, wait a minute, I gotta show more love. Gifting another membership there to Demetrius Alexander. Thank you so much, Skeptical. Congrats,
much love to Skeptical.
Enjoy that there. And Dustin Roberts, perfect timing here with his $5 holler, putting himself up on the board. You know what he said?
Hit me with it.
After watching Stephen Jones, I don't believe his bullshit. Jerry and Steven need to prove to Cowboys Nation that they care about winning Super Bowls.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
And guys, again, I know we'll get to it when we get to the Stephen Jones comments, but how, he took Jerry's all-in comments and walked them so far back, we're barely dipping a toe in the water. So,
you guys, I want to know what you guys think about these comments. We'll get to them shortly.
Ooh.
But man, it is definitely not, I don't know. I'm not too happy about it. How's that? Is that a nice way of saying it?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm cracking up a little bit here at the chat. This Skeptical fan said, who's placing bets on if the kid is Jerry's? I can't imagine going through all of that and not knowing you're the dad. I mean, let's be real. You don't just pay hush money to a woman that you slept with who happened to have a child conceived during a period where you were possibly sleeping with her and pay her hush money for years and years and years because they're not your kid.
Remember, she was on a show about living like crazy and rich in Dallas with her mom, which is which is the girl he slept with, obviously the woman he slept with for Jerry Jones there. But yeah, they've been on TV, they've been doing, I'm saying that now it's going to be an official thing, and that's really to establish a piece of the chunk of the cash money that Jerry Jones has. That's what this is about.
Yes,
right?
And if anything, it really does go to show you, don't allow anybody to extort or blackmail you, because it doesn't even matter if it's 20-something years down the line. That will probably come out eventually.
Yep. And now Jerry gonna find out. Man, we got a 3-way tie, by the way, for the gifting board with Mr. The Lunatic, Mr. JD from DC, and now Skeptical Fan. Any one of those guys drops 1 on it in the gifting membership side, and they are champions for this week. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
And Skeptical also moving up the board to 6th place on the overall here. And I appreciate Dustin Roberts, who's 11th place on the board.
Yeah, I guess Jerry glory hold too close to the sun.
Yeah, he done fucked up. I wonder how many others out there. He's out there sexually harassing women. So allegedly and other things. I mean, he fits right. Doesn't he fit right in? So he's a true Dallas Cowboy. I'm just saying, we talk about our players. Our players used to be always in trouble with the law.
Yeah, where do you think they get it from?
Yeah, they get it from Big Jerry. Shit. Any quick thoughts on this in the chat?
Oh, yeah, let me go ahead and, let's take our first set. At this point, I'd be more happy if someone could buy the Dallas Cowboys. I'm done with the Joneses, the California-born Kid Jones.
I am right there with you. Speaking of Mr. Calvin Richard in the house, dropping that 5 on it.
He had to make his voice heard
Hell
here.
yeah.
You know what he had to say?
Hit me. He's tied with Dustin Roberts. What did he say?
She needs to have that case trial in New York. Enough corruption there to win any case.
We know that.
Well, again, I'm surprised that Jerry doesn't have pretty much every judge in the state of Texas bought out for his personal shenanigans.
Yeah, with his power and fame, and power and money, he should more than be able to do that.
And you know what? Based on the information that was put out there on the whole paternity lawsuit, it does straight up sound like all she wanted was for Jerry to admit that he was her dad, and that had he actually at least come out and done so, she wasn't going to go after his money. But now it's like she has a point. Well,
I disagree. I think she was just a matter of time, and when she needed it, she's going to tap into that, like break glass in case of emergency.
Well, I guess that's what happens.
Jerry's fault.
When you're raised in that type of situation. So also probably a pretty bitter pill to swallow. No matter how much money you have, like your dad's a billionaire.
Yeah.
You're never you're still living the lower class life. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, no, I hear you, baby. So we started with non-NFL news, but NFL news, but Cowboy news directly to the biggest freaking problem starter on our team, the Joneses, Jerry Jones, the king of the Joneses. Anyways, in the rest of the NFL news, Adrian Peterson, running back, of course he was gonna. There was a whole thing about it's auctioning off all his stuff, and Adrian Peterson said it's not happening, right? He said it was false. He threatened to sue. Well, despite all those things, Tex-Max Auctions, they are going to go ahead and auction off all his property. This includes a 2012 NFL MVP award, Rookie of the Year award, among many other collectibles. The auction closes on Thursday, so it looks like he is, whether he's suing or not or whatever. He's mad. Everything's getting auctioned off. Tyreek Hill. Brittany Lackner is one of the 3 women that gave birth to Tyreek Hill's babies this year.
One of the 3?
One of the 3. He had 3 different women that gave birth to his child. Also, this situation, guys, happened. And I'll talk about Brittany Lackner because now, she basically, in between all the marriage, he's getting married, and all this stuff going on, having other kids. Then in the same calendar year of 2023, she said she was unemployed, was in debt, on Medicaid, no plans to get a job. And so Tyreek Hill offered her $2,500 a month in child support. And then, things got crazy. In the last 12 months, Tyreek Hill has had 3 babies. We saw him on the Hard Knocks getting married. Then after the season ended, supposedly getting divorced. Then staying married. Then he did not get divorced. His house earlier in the season almost burned down during a practice. He almost had 2,000 receiving yards this season, and he's also being sued by Thick Milk. Who's that? For breaking her leg for tackling her in his backyard. It's just Tyreek Hill. He broke his kids, or him, or his wife, or somebody broke his kid's arm a couple of years back when he was in KC, and they never even, I don't think he even lost the game for that. So a lot of crazy shit surrounding Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, he sounds like he has a lot going on there. But before I finish sharing my thoughts on that interesting situation, shout out to the man, Calvin Richards. Thank you with the $2 holler saying, "What the hell do the Cowboys see in LVE?" Well,
now it's the retirement is what they say.
I was going to say, I do respect the way that Steven addressed those comments. One of the few things that I actually appreciate. Just throw this out there. I don't think this is a spoiler. Guys, there really isn't any current updates on the LVE situation, and it sounds like the Cowboys are letting him be the driving force of whatever the future looks like for him. Let's be honest, though. We already knew it during the season. Due to the nature of the injury and because of his previous surgery and injuries and things like that, this is absolutely a career-ending type of situation. It's just a matter of
when he announces
is he even able to play football? If he is, obviously I do think the Cowboys would have him back for the world's cheapest, most reasonable deal, but let's just see if the man can play ball and if he's going to be physically okay.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about what Stephen
Jones
said.
Steven's actual comments there when we get to
moment,
it. But like I said, just appreciate the way that was handled.
Yeah. So much love, by the way, Calvin Richard. taking Dwayne Brassard to 62 points on the stream
you.
and now it's in the 10th place he's a top 10 list as well here, Calvin Richard, as he jumps out of a tie with Dustin Roberts and over Snug X. So more NFL news, guys. 3-time Pro Bowler, defensive back safety Jamal Adams is saying goodbye to the Seattle Seahawks. Remember all that talk about him coming to Dallas from the Jets? Now he's leaving to Seattle. It appears he'll be playing somewhere else this season. He said, quote, looking forward to the opportunity on a recent post he had there. So, again, I don't think he's going to come to Dallas. I'm just letting you know. Jamal Adams always been tied to Dallas. Floating around out there as a free agent this year. Another guy the Cowboys supposedly were interested in, this was a guy we spoke about at cornerback. Talking about defensive back with Jamal Adams. Cornerback L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. A guy who's going to be a lot of money. And listen, he's not going to be the guy coming to Dallas. And if anybody, go get Jalen Johnson first over from the Bears over L'Jarius Sneed. But either way, the Chiefs have informed L'Jarius Sneed that they are prepared to use the franchise tag. And then after tagging him, are open to try to consummate a trade, so to speak, if there is no long-term deal agreed upon between them. So Sneed said he's agreeable to the scenario, and he's willing to give it a chance to talk with KC and get a franchise tag on with them, and then get traded. And he's in the talks with that. So it looks like L'Jarius Sneed, cornerback for the Chiefs, going somewhere else this year, just in a trade, not in free agency. Okay. So interesting there. Buccaneers. They are releasing 2-time Pro Bowl outside linebacker who's basically, I say outside linebacker, he's like a blitzing, he's like Micah Parsons. Okay. So it's kind of that kind of outside linebacker. So Shaquille Barrett, who now, again, playing the outside linebacker, he had a $15.04 million option bonus due in March. Instead now of collecting that $15 million plus guarantee there, bonus, he's now a free agent instead. And the Buccaneers releasing him they're going to release him as a post June 1st cut, which means their dead money this year that they have to absorb. That's a lot of money. They got that $15 million. It's really more than that, but dead money in 2024, $9.2 million. Dead money in 2025, $17.4 million. And cap savings after 6 weeks, they're only saving about $4.9 million. This cut's going to save them $5 million. But it's going to cost them 9.2 dead this year and 17.4 dead next year for Shaquille Barrett. Ow. Much love to the champion of the gifting board, Mr. Skeptical Fan, who just took that over. Also, but may I add, Skeptical Fan also just made a big jump right there. I think, no, he's still there. He's still in 6th place, but right behind Gloria and Grateful Nomad, who are tied for 4th place currently on that board.
Yes, huge shout out to the man, Skeptical Fan. Gifting the love, showing the love.
They jumped him. He jumped him.
Snug X.
Yeah. Oh, Snug X is in the membership. Congrats to him. As you can see, actually, my mistake, he did make a jump over Grateful Nomad and Gloria. He is now officially in 4th place. Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. Grateful Nomad and Gloria dropped to 5th. Both of them in a tie there. But now we have our champion, baby. It's official now. Skeptical Fan, who technically now has, 4 gifted memberships and is in 1st place all by himself on the gifting board this week, trying to go back-to-back because he is the champion now, officially.
Now, I do have to assume, just to address some comments in the chat, that Thick Milk is not her government name.
I don't think so.
Throw that out there. I know you missed the joke because Seabass is like, Thick Milk? And I'm like, oh, no, it's probably, Thick Milk, but I spelled it with like C's, thick.
Yeah. I think it was with the C's.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I guess I should have assumed. I should have known.
Tyreek Hill, what's he
Bruce,
doing?
I agree. That definitely does sound like the name of some adult late night entertainment, for sure. Just throwing that out there. Oh, kind of rolling it back here. Bruce got the toxic juice saying, "Who's doing a worse job of keeping it in his holster? Jerry Jones, Tyreek Hill, or Phillip Rivers?" I mean,
at least Phillip Rivers is doing it.
I would say Phillip Rivers is doing it intentionally.
Exactly.
And with the support of his God. So you know what? That is God sanctioned deholstering. Unholstered?
Yeah.
However you want to call it. But the point is
deep holstering. Wait, what?
Just saying, it's approved by someone somewhere, okay? I don't think anybody's approving of what Jerry and Tyreek are doing. Just throwing that out there.
Sorry. I cracked myself up.
Oh, anyway.
Much love to Skeptical Fan, who is now officially, I already fixed it there, he's our gifting champion. We can say that tomorrow now, kicking off the stream and everything. He's also got 4 on the board for this week. Skeptical Fan is also moving up the board as well, right now in 4th behind SCO, 971. And I'm going to say this, not far back on him either. Much love to the man staying skeptical. The last piece of NFL news before we dive into the Cowboy stuff here is Skeptical Fan dropping a $2 holler. And I think this is a super sticker.
Yes, it is. Showing the love with a little Wolfie doggy thing there. Go Cowboys.
Fox?
Always.
Is that Fox? Wolfie?
Oh.
Appreciate
I guess the Fox says go Cowboys.
Always go Cowboys. And gets Dwayne Broussard, the top dog, to 60 points up on that stream, boss. Appreciate you, Skeptical. And he is moving on up quick here on these boards. So, finish.
Yeah, I do. It does. Again, the final thing. Obviously, the NFL needs to have like a free condom program, like Planned Parenthood style or something. Just like constant goodie bags of them. And just instead of confetti, now we know we got to throw into the air. Just back to you.
It's a crazy world out there. Anyways, the last thing I want to say, NFL news-wise, Howie Roseman and the Eagles are saying that cornerback James Bradbury remains, quote, part of our plans for 2024. So he's entering the second season of a 3-year, $38 million contract. So I am happy about this. Yes, pay him the money. Keep him there. He's not that good. He's burnable. When he was with the Panthers, he was fantastic. The Giants kind of dropped a little bit, and now it's dropped a lot with the Eagles. So, hey, Bradbury's going to be there. That's a good thing for our Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb. Take advantage whenever they're matching up. Now, let's talk about some things that came up when it comes to the NFLPA. The NFLPA did a survey with the players of the NFL about the conditions, and I guess you could say even coaching and ownership of each organization.
Okay.
So, I guess I'll put up Jerry Jones as a representation here. The Cowboys finish in the overall numbers here, the averages, 12th in the NFL out of 32.
12th best or 12th worst?
12th best.
Okay.
In the NFLPA workplace condition survey of all players. It was a fall, though, from last year.
Okay.
We were 5th best
not
last.
As good.
Yeah, we were 5th best last year. Dropped to 12th. Maybe I want you to understand that the issues here are, and I'm going to touch on a couple of the issues that the players say, but a lack of resources in the training room, and it being understaffed were one of the the 2 biggest reasons really why they dropped so far in the rankings.
That is surprising.
Now I'm going to throw in here the coaching for a moment, because I did also ask about coaches in the NFL. Mike McCarthy received an A grade from his players. That is 9th in the NFL. And I'll give you the head coach.
Not surprising.
I'll give you the head coach grades right now. Andy Reid, Dan Campbell, and Kevin O'Connell all got A pluses. A pluses.
Okay.
Those 3.
I mean, again, not surprising. That tracks.
All the A's: Sean McDermott, Zach Taylor, Mike McCarthy, Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel, Nick Sirianni, Mike Tomlin, Kyle Shanahan, and Pete Carroll.
Okay.
A minuses: Jonathan Gannon, Sean Payton, Brian Dable, Doug Peterson, Shane Steichen, Frank Reich, and D'Amico Ryans. A B plus: John Harbaugh, Matt LaFleur, and Mike Vrabel.
I'm really surprised that Harbaugh is that low.
Me too.
Overall, considering
he's a hard coach. I mean, hey, some guys don't like the hard coaches.
All right.
Matt Everfluss got a B. Brandon Staley got a B, and so did Robert Saleh with a B.
Okay.
B minus: Kevin Stefanski, Bill Belichick, Dennis Allen, and Todd Bowles. A C plus: Arthur Smith from the Falcons. He's not there anymore. That was a C plus. A C was given to Ron Rivera.
Ouch.
Ow. And a D, Josh McDaniels. Ow.
Like quadruple ouch.
Yeah, well, we knew that was going to come anyways. So there you go, Mike McCarthy. His players like him. Maybe he needs to be harder on them, so they don't like him as much. That's MCF's 2 cents on that. Now, what about the conditions portion of things?
Okay.
When you look at this, the Cowboys are one of 4 teams whose overall score in the conditions area was an A minus or higher. Like I said, and when you look at head coach, Mike McCarthy was graded with an A. I will say this, and I kind of skimmed through it here. I didn't really say it. But Jerry Jones, the owner, also got a grade. He got a B. Jerry Jones.
All right.
Jerry Jones got a B. That's 19th in the NFL. Not very good for old Jerry Jones, who loves that is visuals.
That is B plus is where I think Jerry should be at. Let's be real.
But 19th in the NFL? That's not. He wants to make sure he's this guy who's loved by his players. He's always looking for that.
Well, let's be real. You can't, in Jerry's case in particular, you can't really separate the ownership from the GMing. So that is where
true.
They go hand in hand. At least to me. Like I said. Now, Seabass said, where do fans go vote on such subjects? I don't know, but I would love to see just a general Cowboy fan vote. How does Cowboy Nation feel like we personally rank?
Yeah, but it's hard.
Obviously, we don't know what the facilities are like, but just in general, how we feel about the coaches or ownership or things like that.
I wish we could vote about the ownership, but they just wanted the NFLPA wanted to get an idea what the players thought, and they think that Jerry's 19th in the NFL. So when it comes to the facility, and we've been there, we've live streamed there, we've been there a couple times. Of course, we live streamed last time we were there with the family, and the kids. You guys are with us for the Star Tour and the stadium
that's the
tour.
part that I'm having a confusing part understanding, because if you're saying we had an A- and that we somehow dropped a ton because of facilities or whatever.
No. It was treatment and stuff like trainers.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it was more of a lack of staff.
Well, yeah, but let me explain. I'll break it down for you. Here it is, baby. Listen. Our overall score. This is not in any order. It's just I guess in order they released this thing.
Okay.
Treatment of facilities.
Okay.
An A-.
All right.
It's 4th best in the NFL. Food and cafeteria. B.
Nah, really?
Yeah, after all that big talk we got.
It seemed really nice.
Yeah. 11th in the NFL. Nutritionist, dietitian, a B. 11th in the NFL.
Still surprising.
Locker room, an A, which is not surprising. That's 2nd best in the NFL. Training room, a C-. Wow. That's 26th in the NFL. Do you know what else about that? Last year we were it was like a B or an A, I think, in that category. It drops to a C-.
What the heck happened in that training room?
Training staff, a D+.
Jesus Christ.
30th out of 32.
All right, so maybe again, just
and remember
speculating.
Last year we were a B. We were A and B, and now we're now we're at C and D.
I was just about to say maybe some of the problems that we also saw, just throwing this out there, when it came to defense or other things like that.
Being tired on the field?
No, it's not just that, but
Marcus
we
Lawrence.
like to talk a lot about McCarthy and Quinn as the head coaches. Maybe it was more of the assistant coaches or some of those depth guys, those trainers that we lost that were contributing more than we thought or more than we realized. Just throwing that out there because that seems like a big drop-off, and it clearly seems reflected somewhere in our season.
Yeah, it's something that the Cowboys must internally take a look at.
Especially if these are our own players saying, hey, this is how we
And that's the thing I'm trying to say. I know Seabass and myself and you, baby, we would love to give our impressions on the owner, but we don't work for him, so we don't really know how the owner would treat us for real, right? And we don't know how he might treat the players fantastic, which, again, 19th, that's a big fall for Jerry. But
plus,
when you look at
say this is how we think they feel, but this is them telling us straight up how they feel.
That's the thing. We can only look. You walk me through the Cowboy. I'm like, damn, that's nice, and I'm gonna give it an A. That's the guys that are actually using are the ones that matter. So they say training room, training staff need improvement. When you go to the weight room though, which we also seen in the tour, that got an A.
Okay.
5th best in the NFL.
See, maybe that definitely makes more sense. Okay.
Strength coaches, a B+, 17th in the NFL, not right out the middle area average. Team travel, we got a C-.
Damn.
Wow. You see those videos every time they board in the plane.
Rolling in a hoop?
American Airlines, I guess that ain't good enough. But team travel is C-, 22nd in the NFL. Head coach, like I said, an A, 9th best. And ownership, B, 19th in the NFL. So that's the full Monty there and everything. I will say this here, a little more detail. The article that I'm going to pull out the Cowboy stuff here, it's important. Listen to what they said. The major issue in Dallas, I'm paraphrasing here, but it's based on all these player responses, is centered around the training room. The players feel that they're very understaffed in this department. And it's difficult to get the necessary preparation and treatment to perform at their best, which is crazy. When you see the management by McCarthy with the little chips and the GPS sensors and how much they played and practiced and all that stuff to keep them fresh for games.
Yeah, but even that is definitely more of an analytics type of
right, no, I'm saying that, but they're using all these things and yet still don't have the people enough to make the players feel comfortable like they are preparing
what I'm trying to say.
and performing at their best.
We have no problem staffing those type of analytical front office type of positions, but we seem to have a problem staffing, like actually having the people there who are hands-on working with these players.
The treatment stuff is what's important. So here's the thing, baby. Only 62%, when it's one of the worst in the league, 62% of the players felt like they're getting an adequate amount of one-on-one treatment time. That's 30th in the NFL. One-on-one treatment time, not enough when it comes to the Cowboy players. The Joneses, this is not a coaching issue.
Yeah.
This is not a player issue. This is a organization issue. They got to fix their shit when it comes to this. The other issue that was mentioned is players feel that the training room lacks basic equipment that you would expect to find, and it's standard in pretty much every other NFL training facility. We're 26th on that as well. That baffles me.
I wish they would be more specific in that, just because I'm genuinely curious. Like, what equipment is out there that you feel like we're somehow missing? Right, and specifically because they kept the weight room separate, so it's not a weight room equipment type of thing. Is it more of like a rehab facility? Like, do we need extra hot tubs?
Yeah.
Do we need more masseuses or an extra stretching machine? What's?
I'm hearing like there was I think it was the hot tubs were there's not enough hot tubs or something like this. It's like too many the players. This is not enough availability, I think, as well, for whether it's a trainer or equipment for like rehab stuff. Okay. I think that's kind of where it lays. Strong marks across the board outside of these two areas. This is basically simple to fix, right? You hire additional trainers, you hire additional physical therapists to ensure the players can get the necessary treatment to stay healthy and perform at their highest level. For the last year, our guys haven't even been at their highest level because of the simple thing of paying money to trainers and physical therapists. This is all on Jerry Jones. Not on McCarthy, not anybody else. It's the front office, Steven and Jerry, that make these decisions.
I have to hit
and they
the
fell
chat
flat
here. You guys
there.
are cracking me up. Skeptical fans. So DeMarcus Lawrence really was telling the truth when he said he was tired.
Yeah, I guess we can't really laugh at him. We got to say, hey, Jerry, get the fucking trainers out there and get your team in shape.
Yep. Seabass said Dallas staff should be world class if that team is worth $9 billion.
Exactly. There's
Matt
no
Batt
excuse.
said keeping all that money for themselves and not helping their players. It's sad. We have the money, but management doesn't care.
And this one, how many years, guys, I've been screaming, and not at people, in this YouTube space, about these fucking two guys that they will constantly put the blame on the players, on the coaches, and sometimes it is on the coaches and the players. But most of this is foundational from these two motherfuckers.
Michael Fantasy's a little different. He's like, these coddled motherfuckers.
They're coddled because you got to understand, man, let's think of it like this. This is your team. You make money. More money you make, the better the team stays healthy, the better they play. You, of course, going to coddle them. The Cowboys, compared to other organizations, skimp on physical training. That's not even coddling. This is like, I want these guys at their peak potential. That shouldn't even be a question. And the Joneses are cutting the corners there. They got $10 billion fucking dollars on just worth of this team on top of everything else they got. Mm-hmm. They can afford it. They can more than afford it. But they're cheap. Coddled or not, you never know. That might be the difference between a Super Bowl or not. You just don't know. Again, this team, I still think it has to do more than just physical training and rehab. I think it has to do with coaching. 63% of the Cowboy players felt like they have enough. Feel like they had enough of the. They had enough full-time physical therapists there, but that's only 63%, guys. So a little over half said that they had enough trainers there. That is 29th in the NFL, and 97% of players for the Cowboys feel they have enough. Oh no, I'm sorry, that was a mistake. They do have enough hot tub space. That they have enough of. 97% of players say they have enough hot tub space for, of course, the rehab side of things. That's 9th overall, by the way. A little side note, I think that you had brought up a team that was good or bad. I forgot which one it was that you had brought up earlier to me when we were discussing it. But the Washington Commanders, they did not surprise anybody on this list. Again, this report card is worse than a D, let's just say. All right, They're the worst in the league when it comes to facility conditions. They're getting just embarrassment, and of course
we've
now
been hearing that for ages.
Yeah. Now Dan Quinn is going there. Good luck, Dan Quinn. Who spoke today, by the way? He's trying to
obviously turn that stuff around.
He spoke today, but I wanted to say, I could have swore you mentioned a team earlier today, baby. You had mentioned about the team's facility or something like this. Something you had made a mention about a team earlier, and I never. You had mentioned it in passing. You had read it. You were right.
I think it was about Kansas City.
Yes,
I know what it
Kansas
was.
City.
And again, this is just like me personally talking to Mr. MCF. Yeah, so one of the worst rated owners was the owner for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Hunt.
And one of the main reasons is because the facilities also were rated really low. The Chiefs were promised like new facilities. They only got brand new chairs. That was the Chiefs giving them fancy facilities. And by the way, the Chiefs owners' reasoning for that, they were like, well, because we just made it so far, we made it all the way to the Super Bowl, we made it to the postseason, we just didn't have time to do all these renovations because you guys were just so successful and, well, you should have just been one and done in the playoffs or something. Then we would have had time. So,
Ownership getting dragged in KC and everything getting dragged in Washington with the Washington Commanders. So I see Red in the house. He said doo-doo water dripping on the fans. That shit was literally that shit was horrible. Literally.
By the way, Skeptical fan, much love. Take it easy. Have a great night.
Appreciate Skeptical. Now on the board of champions here for this week, right? In a way, he's the gifting champion. And he has now got a lead for a back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys.
So, and I also want to throw out there, there's no such thing as free promotion. Like, Jerry has an entire social media department, an entire media department run by his daughter Charlotte to make sure that the cowboy image that's being thrown out there is exactly what he wants. Like, he has also several times made it known all news is good news, so he has no problem just putting the Cowboys name out there. But it's not even about free promotion. It's not free.
What are we talking about? This whole thing?
Like the Cowboys, like they're like.
Oh, I don't know. This whole report card is from the players, the NFL, the union.
Yeah, they're basically like Jerry doesn't mind if the players are talking shit about him because they're just talking about him.
The thing is, it just gives a gauge. You know what happens? Other players might not want to come in Dallas if they're going to be cheap on the contracts. So they're going to try to play them stupid. You know what I'm saying? They just use the star like they always do, and then they go somewhere else. That's what most of these guys do. These teams, I know from other teams, that's what they do. Speaking back to Dan Quinn, though, and taking over this horrible Washington Commander organization, he spoke. What I'm saying about the scouting combine. Yeah. We'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. But Dan Quinn spoke about his time in Dallas and what it would take for the Cowboys to take that next step and win some more playoff games and go to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl. What did he say, baby? Dan Quinn.
Those players, those people will always have a special place in my heart because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have this opportunity right here. And of course, Micah Parsons is one of the guys who holds an extra special place in Quinn's heart. He just threw out there as far as the trajectory of Micah's moving forward.
Yeah, he said basically, Micah is going to keep getting better. All right, he's just going to keep getting better. And then I know he did touch on one other thing, which was about the Green Bay Packer loss in the playoffs, how bad the defense played. What the hell was Dan Quinn scheming and doing? What did he say, baby?
He said, those are the ones that leave scars. Yeah, damn fucking right, Dan Quinn. So, also adding in there as far as, what actually happened to the defense in that loss to Green Bay. Quinn said, quote, that was a huge after action to find out why that performance wasn't to the standard we had set. I wish there was one thing to say, oh, this is one thing we could have done differently in that space. Because those are games that are the ones that leave a scar. They're hard to deal with. The team had been an excellent tackling team, creating takeaways, so not having to be in that same space for that hurt. So Quinn kind of admitting it wasn't any one singular problem. It was a multitude of problems coming together to basically screw us over.
Including him not being fucking prepared. I think Dan Quinn was thinking about where he was going to go, not really coaching.
Preparedness was definitely a factor.
So you look at this Green Bay game, just some factors. Let's just look at some facts about this Packer playoff game that we should all know. Listen to this, baby. Cowboys pass defense against the Packers in the playoffs allowed a near perfect passer rating of 157.2 with an average yards per catch of 17.0 yards per catch every throw. And the Cowboys only had one single pass breakup. Cowboys pass rush against the Packers. They accounted for 0 sacks. Of course, we knew that already, but only one player created more than one pressure in that game against Green Bay. That was Micah Parsons, who had 3. Cowboys' run defense allowed Aaron Jones to rush for 5.6 yards per carry. and 3 touchdowns in that playoff loss, and accounted for 5 missed tackles by the defense. We missed 5 missed tackles just on Aaron Jones. 4 of them were coming from a defensive linebacker or defensive back. Cowboys only had 1 tackle for loss. So defensively, Dan Quinn shit the bed. The players shit the bed. Everyone shit the bed. The personnel packages were horrible. That shit the bed. It's a big shit factory.
It was a team effort to shit the bed. Really.
Yeah, it was a Green Bay shit packer. So, anyways,
no comment there.
Hey, listen, the facts about the other side of the ball, we'll say the offense. Green Bay only rushed 4 defensive players rushed at the Cowboys the majority of the game, blitzing only 12% of Dak's throws, of Dak's dropbacks. But even with those minimal kind of pressures, they still consistently created pressure, 17 pressures and 4 sacks. Unbelievable. Green Bay only blitzed 9 times out of 70 throws. They were able to sit back in coverage, and they had 7 or 8 defensive backs consistently and effectively causing Dak to throw into tight windows pretty much the entire game. 3/4 of the Cowboy wide receivers ranked 74th, 100th, and 103rd out of 109 graded NFL receivers in generating separation last year. We know 109 is Michael Gallup, 109th in the league in creating separation. Jalen Tolbert was 103 in creating separation. And if I'm not mistaken, Brandon Cooks was 100, with CeeDee Lamb at 74. So throwing in the tight windows all day long in this game, what was going on there when it came to, in the playoffs with the Packers, 3 out of the Cowboy 4 receivers. That's just horrible. What is it? Again, Pollard, running game. I almost forgot. Tony Pollard averaged only 3.7 yards per carry on 15 attempts. So it was just the running game, the running calls. It wasn't just Tony Pollard. It was the offensive line as well, horrendous in both run and pass blocking the entire game against the Packers. So that's an unfortunate reminder.
Yeah, we saw all of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, we shit the bed on offense and defense against the Packers. So what are we going to do about fixing this thing? As you can see, there's a scouting combine going on right now in Indianapolis as we speak. And, talk about that draft real quick. And again, I just want to let you know, where do the Cowboys sit on who are they interested in, baby, when it comes to this draft, and who are some of the interviews? Because you got to remember, guys, there's formal interviews and there's informal interviews in this combine. And what does it mean? Formal interview is exactly what it sounds. The player meets in a formal setting, in a suite, in a conference room. They sit down with several members of a certain team. Okay. All right? Informal meetings are just, they're just any like kind of Zoom call, any kind of contact at all. So a Cowboys position coach asking a player a question after a workout, that can be classified as an informal, meeting. So I just wanted to break that down there. Let's talk about it. So by position, right now today we had linebackers and defensive linemen on the field talking with the media, kind of letting some people know, what is the plan, for who have they spoken to? They asked the players this, right? They're weighed in, they're doing all these things. And you see what the Cowboys are looking at with this first crop of players. The Cowboys are looking at linebacker and interior tackle when it comes to the interviews. All right? These are, of course, 2 major key positions of need. And again, these are a lot. Most of these guys to me are just names right now. We'll look into it when it gets closer to, draft time, But listen to this. Edge rushers with formal interviews, none of the above. No formal interviews with edge rushers. Now, informal interviews, Xavier Thomas from Clemson, David Ugwegbu from Houston, Jalen Harrell from Michigan, Avabi Oki Anoma from Charlotte, and Mo Kamara from Colorado State. Those are officially informal interviews the Cowboys had with those guys. Could have been just talking with them after a drill, literally. Or after some kind of situation there. So let's move the linebacker. That's that. We don't have much going on there. We're not really too interested at edge, which I'm happy about, especially early. What about linebackers? We're looking at linebackers. Formal interviews. Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M. By the way, probably the best, one of the best off-ball linebackers in this draft. Could be. I've heard first round, second round with him. A different thing. But I'm just saying, this guy, he's a very good interior linebacker. He could be that.
So, by the way, Framber said just draft 6 linebackers.
Well,
that's it. Just
you got
fix all your problems.
Junior Colson from Michigan. A lot of people were trying to say Michigan again. Oh, no. Not Michigan.
Not again.
Tyron Hopper from Missouri. These were all 3 guys were formal interviews. Edgerrin Cooper is the one to kind of remember.
Okay.
Informal interviews at linebacker. Marist Lafau from Notre Dame. Tyrese Knight from UTEP. Jalen Ford from Texas. Darius Mausau from UCLA. And Curtis Jacobs from Penn State. The informal interviews. But it's Edgerrin Cooper. He's the guy to kind of think about there in that group. The name that sticks out, I think, the most. But I'm not done because I'm looking at the interior.
But wait, there's more.
Interior defensive lineman. And I have a couple names in my mind. Informal defensive lineman, Zion Luge from Georgia. Logan Lee from Iowa. They also had a Shrine Bowl meeting with Logan Lee, by the way. Fabian Lovett from Florida State. Leonard Taylor III from Miami, Florida. Logan Lee from, Logan Lee. And Dwayne Carter from Duke, who's a big interior. But these are informal. How about formal? I got a couple of nice ones here. Mason Smith from LSU. Rookie Anhoro from Clemson. Chris Jenkins from Michigan. Not Michigan. McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M. And the guy who is my favorite, the Cowboys are interested, with a formal interview with Texas Longhorn defensive tackle, Tavondre Sweat. We got videos of him crushing people. He had a formal interview with the Cowboys at the NFL Combine. It was a great moment for him seeing his former teammate Paxton Anderson in the meeting room. And he said he'd be excited to stay in Texas if he stays in Dallas, if he goes to Dallas. So, hey. Second rounder. Again, some people saying by the time this is over, he might be first rounder. But there's no way the Cowboys are going back-to-back defensive tackles. No way.
Even I have to admit that seems like the longest of long shots.
But second round, hell yeah. We're down if he's there. Do not overlook that as a major move if he trickles down. But Tavondre Sweat, if he trickles down to the second round to us, get him. So, a couple players that are notable that are not scheduled to meet with the Cowboys this week. Linebacker Peyton Wilson from North Carolina State, who a lot of people have mocked him to us, not meeting with the Cowboys yet. Linebacker Cedric Gray from North Carolina. Linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr., of course we know his dad. He's coming from Clemson. And then linebacker Tommy Eichenberg from Ohio State. Now, it does not mean they're not targets. It just means, they have not been, explored deeper by the Cowboys in informal or formal meetings as of yet. That all can change, but the Cowboys usually show their cards. And when you look at, again, we didn't have the offense yet, the running backs, we didn't have the cornerbacks or defense. We don't know yet who else the Cowboys are going to ask. I think you get 40 formal interviews, so we're like a third of the way there already with the formal. So when it looks like the Cowboys are focusing on a majority of linebackers and interior defensive linemen, no edge rushers formally. You know what I'm saying? Formal meetings. So, any thoughts on that, baby? On what do you think the Cowboys, thought process may be when it comes to the draft?
I have to admit, I'm surprised at the number of defensive players. I think that's the.
Today was only defense, baby. That's what I'm trying to say. It was only linebackers and edge rushers and tackles, but it was more the amount of guys. Like they got like 5 or 6 guys from linebacker, 5 or 6 guys from defensive tackle, which is usually something they don't do. No edge rushers though.
Thank you for once again fixing what I was trying to say there. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my point. The linebacker one, not surprising. I guess the better point is, where is the secondary? Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, we're pretty much, not that it was a surprise to anyone, but it feels like we're basically just advertising, hey, this is the only thing we give a shit about. And there were definitely a few defensive backs that I thought the Cowboys would be more interested in.
That's tomorrow. I think they come on the field tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Today was only day one. We won't know.
I thought it was just all defensive players.
No.
That's why.
We'll know more about, like, when they speak with these corners and defensive backs tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll know who, they'll answer the questions. Who spoke with you? And they'll say the Cowboys, the Jets, the whoever.
All right, so
we'll know more. But right now, the point is, it's been like, it's out of the 40 guys you can do interviews with, the Cowboys have like 10 or 12 of them with linebackers and interior defensive tackles, like space eaters, the ones that we were looking for. So it's interesting to see that
we did
the
spend
first
a good
wave,
chunk of our interviews there.
The first wave
at those
is
positions, but,
is that very important position.
Outside of that, I guess I have zero thoughts because, like I said, I thought it was all defensive players today, not just those positions. So there you go. Let me see here. Mike Aldana said, "Don't be surprised if the clown show brings in someone who's not on our radar." There's always one of those like random dark horses.
Usually later in the draft, though, right?
Yeah.
Because we know they bring them in for formal interviews, and later on, they go in for those Zoom interviews they used to do. Those were, they still do those, and they send them.
I guess the other thing you can add to that list of guys that I was just about to say is the high amount of, like you said, day 1, day 2 guys at those 2 positions specifically. So that we are going to go deeper in the, that we go for some depth in the draft is not exactly a surprise at either one of these spots.
Take some chances later on in the draft.
Especially with our draft moves last year, defensive tackle again so high in the draft. It just, I don't know. That to me is maybe the more surprising part out of all of it. So anyway. Rolling back here. Let me see. Get me a defensive tackle in free agency. I don't care. Just get a defensive tackle. So basically, my bet said you can draft a defensive tackle high in the draft
agree.
as long as you go after a defensive tackle in free agency.
You go for Grover.
Knock yourself out.
You go for Grover. Was it Stewart? Grover Stewart, I think his name was. You go for someone like him from Indianapolis, and you get a guy like this inside. That's the double dosage you want. When you got Mozzie, you got to put him some weight on him, and you got Osa as your more athletic 3-tech. You got 2 spots there, and you got 4 guys that can play intermingled and intertwined in there. So
and the good news is when we get to the Stephen Jones commentary here in a little bit, he basically does admit but doesn't admit that we're working on the 3 particular people's contracts as we speak. So guys, get ready for the Dak Prescott era to continue, the CeeDee Lamb era to continue, the Micah Parsons era to continue.
Even if it's going to be done the Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. Let's just call it the Stephen Jones way. Now, as I said, draft a couple. I guess I'll say this last little draft tidbit here when it comes to running back. Listen to this, baby. In 2023, this is an analytical number here, but the 2023 combined rushing yards over expectation. And what does that mean? Expectations are based on the positioning and movement of players on the field at the time of the handoff. It has nothing to do with actual past or historic or career running back production. So just taking last year's guys, like that were drafted, like Chase Brown, Evan Hull, Deuce Vaughn, running backs that were drafted last year, and these are the 2023 running back rookies. Their combined rushing yards over expectation is plus 0.4. All right, not great. This includes all day 3 picks and every undrafted free agent rookie that was on a team with any kind of carries. All of those guys amounted to only plus 0.4 yards over expectation, which is it's better than in the negative. Pollard, who's a free agent now, that was going to be Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. Add those guys up. You know what their over expectation was? Only plus 0.1. So those guys are actually worse when running the ball. In the overall analytical sense, by 0.3 of a yard compared to the undrafted rookies last year and the day 3 picks.
So basically,
which are
a lot of
running
teams
backs,
were better off
Deuce
using some of their younger, cheaper, running backs than these kind of tried and true established guys.
The names we're talking about, day 3 names, are the guys like Chase Brown, Evan Hull, and Deuce Vaughn. I'm saying Deuce Vaughn. And they still ended up with a little bit better of yards over expectation than those other names like Pollard, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley.
Now, when your expectation is like -1,
well,
I feel like maybe that it factors into it, but it still goes to show you.
A little surprising.
The general trends that we're seeing in the NFL, they're matching up to what the Cowboys are supposedly saying they're going to do, which is definitely just depending on younger, cheaper talent and not really investing too much when it comes to the running back position.
Yeah, I agree. And when you talk about, now we're going to get to Steven, this is the finale here. So 2 days worth of fun. But let's get to Jerry real quick for a minute, because we have the salary cap we know is $255.4 million. And the way it breaks down, it's an interesting perspective here. NFL teams receive an additional annual distribution check for the national media, the sponsorship, and the licensing revenue money.
Okay.
And it comes up to about $400 million.
Oh, so just that. Got it.
So even before they even turn the lights on, before they even pay a player this year, the owners, this bonus check they get of $400 million per team, every team has basically $150 million more in revenue than all the player costs put together combined. So again, and Jerry can't pay for enough physical therapists, Jerry and Steven. They can't pay for enough PT therapists and rehab people there. What the fuck? Come on.
I have to admit, out of all the things that I thought the Joneses would cheap out on, you know, with as image obsessed as we are, like, you'd think he'd want like 10 extra bodies doing absolutely nothing, just standing around looking important. Anyway, I don't know why. That's okay. Sorry.
That's how he got rich. A cheap ass bastard. Anyways, now moving it over to the money side of things, right? We're going to play this game again with Dak Prescott. Well, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they got to make a decision what they're going to do. Now, we know that they're going to extend them. We already heard this already, but good question, just general question. When do the Joneses and Dak Prescott have to come to a decision on some kind of an extension? Is there a deadline? No. There's not really a deadline, but there's a deadline. There is one deadline. It's not a deadline. You have to do it by a certain point, but there is a money deadline. In the sense of, like, you know, added money or not here, taking on new parts of the contract, because there's no actual deadline. The Cowboys could allow him to play the final year of his contract, right? But that would be $60 million in the cap, basically. So he has a roster bonus due on March 17th. You want a date when something's got to be done?
Okay.
March 17th. Mark it on your calendars.
My other question,
that's what's going to happen.
My other question, though, does, like, okay, obviously, if we wait until, like, July to open up money for Dak, that means that we can't use some of that newly opened up cap space to sign free agents or stuff. So in general, even outside of that March 17th date, it would behoove the Cowboys maybe to try and get it done now so they have money to play around with now in free agency?
Well, free agency is going to start like around, I think March 11th you can start talking to guys.
Okay.
March 13th I think officially starts the new league year. It's either the 11th and the 13th or the 13th and the 15th. But either way, I think it's 5 days after the league year, which is the 17th, so it might be 11. I don't know. The point is, I think it's the 13th, 12th, where it's officially the new league year. So the roster bonus is going to due March 17th. And here's my point: a contract extension before that roster bonus, you know, it vests, it becomes official, is the Cowboys' most viable option to significantly lower Dak's 2024 cap number. Once that hits, the cap number doesn't go down as much as you think it's going to go down.
Okay.
That's why the Cowboys got to get a deal done, free agency or not.
Okay.
They got to get it done before 17th of March, or else the Cowboys will be...
That puts Steven's comments in way worse perspective. That makes him so much worse now for me.
Well, we're just about to get into that. But I wanted to end it before we get to Stephen Jones. I knew you got the whole lowdown on this.
Yes.
Sport Track came out with a big thing this morning. Oh, you know, again, guys, I do not put this on the top of the news because this is just clickbait shit. But they projecting a contract for Dak Prescott. And their projection is a 3-year deal for Dak, a 3-year extension, worth $180 million, which of course comes to $60 million a year. It would be, they say it would come to about $169 million guaranteed.
Okay.
And I say guaranteed, I mean that's with injury, that's with all, you know, the roster bonus kick-ins and all that shit. So 170 basically is guaranteed out of the 180. Okay. And $76 million is what he would get in his hands in 2024, like in cash. So Dak being 31, the details of this deal: 3-year, $180 million, $60 million per year, $119 million guaranteed at signing, $169 practically guaranteed. Listen to these yearly hits, baby, on the cap for the Cowboys. All right, you're looking at cap hits of $41.6 million this year.
Okay.
$83.2 million next year. Yeah, I said $83 million. $71 million in 2026 and $65 million in 2027, and then a voided year, dead year, of $15 million. It's not even that bad. And that's everything from the previous years combined and rolled into this. We're paying off some of those numbers from the money we had to roll in the 2026 and 2027 seasons. 2025 and 26 seasons, which are voided seasons. It would restructure his contract. But again, he would get a full no trade clause, is what they're saying. And no tag clause as well.
Yeah, I want to clarify something. That
is almost
structure the contracts however you want. Those two things were always going to be non-negotiables, guys. I know there's some people out there trying to speculate, saying, "Well, what if Dak did this with this contract and didn't include this clause?" There's no way that's happening. So put whatever number, get Dak Prescott $1 a year. I don't care. He's gonna have that no trade clause. And he's also gonna.
Yeah, he's gonna have no tag clause either. Yeah, so again, and 2028 automatically voids is the point for that year. So Cowboys have a few options with Dak, but the most likely outcome is an extension. You can restructure and get a little money this year. You can extend them and get a little bit more this year. It's gonna look not like what I said, but they're trying to say that's kind of an idea. I think you can put more dead money. You could put another $15 million in another dead year and take the lesser cap hit of $83 million. So the point is, however it's structured, Dak Prescott would be the first player making $60 million per year in terms of new money averages, and in total, it would have been the total with the 3-year extension in this 4th year here. I mean, in this final year of his contract, would make it a 4-year deal, $214 million. 169 guarantees. Okay, I told you the whole thing already, but he basically would secure a historic $76 million signing bonus, and his cap figure would go from $59.4 million to $41.6 this year. That's a basic kind of idea. You can get that a lot lower, that cap hit, by the way, but then you got to pay more in the future. That's why I say add avoidable year, whatever it is. Well, it doesn't matter what I think, baby. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you guys think in the chat. But it definitely does matter what a certain someone thinks, especially the guy who does the contracts. Stephen Jones. Jerry's right there, but it's Stephen Jones, baby. I want to know what Stephen Jones said about a lot of things, because he was at a lot of Cowboy front office, and Will McClay and some of the coaches, Linda Wells, Schottenheimer, some assistants. They're all at this scouting combine, checking out players. Some of them are in drills, like Linda Wells. And Stephen Jones is over there talking to the media. Yesterday. This happened yesterday, not today. And the first thing he was asked about was, hey, what's going on with number 4? What's going on with Dak Prescott? So, baby, I know that he had a lot to say. Well, he had a lot to say about a lot of things when it comes to
not
quite
Stephen as much to say
Jones.
When it came to Dak.
Yeah, what about Dak? What did Steve Jones have to say about Dak Prescott?
Sorry to tell you guys, but we're not going to be giving reports on how things are going. And of course, he was asked, do you want to get a contract extension done with Dak? And he said, oh yes, absolutely. So he's not deviating from that party line, right? He also said that they haven't thought about life without Dak, saying, quote, our whole thing with Dak is him being a Cowboy. That's all that's on our mind. Oh. And when he was asked as far as the status of that contract, he said, we won't be expounding on these types of things with our negotiations. But that's obviously something that, as we move forward, we hope to continue to make progress. So he also called Dak, quote, the leader of this football team, saying he certainly does everything in his way to make everybody better and hold people accountable. He sets a high bar and a high standard.
So Stephen Jones is basically a lot of lip service, it sounds like, when it comes to making his deal with Dak. It almost feels like he's trying to negotiate in the sense of, like, we don't want to talk much about this. We're going to figure it out. It's on our mind. He's a Cowboy. He's a leader. But he ain't saying anything else.
I have to admit, as far as that in particular, not as bothered. Like I said, I'm always find it a refreshing approach when the Jones family is not just saying every thought that pops into their head. So I'm not against Steven keeping contract stuff a little closer to the vest, but he's also telling you what the plan is. Is he saying something other than we love Dak? We see someone other than Dak as our quarterback. We have any doubts about that? Like, there's not even an inch of doubt anywhere in his statements. Dak's the guy. It'll get done eventually. But like you mentioned, baby, the timeline of it does matter. So
17th, 13th. Those are the dates we want to look at when it comes to March and this deal getting done. Now, there's other extensions that are looming as well. There's other guys like CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons is waiting to get to get their extensions done here, which now can be done for Micah and CeeDee Lamb. Well, he's entering his 5th year here. So when he was asked, how special is it when you want to get a guy like CeeDee Lamb and you care about signed to another contract, what does Stephen Jones say?
Certainly he fits that in spades in terms of, a guy that we want to have around here, for years to come. These are all direct quotes. It's tough to find guys like that. As we all know, you can only have so many of those guys to, that you pay a second contract to, that we've had a lot of players over the years that when they're available for a second contract, we want them. But you've got to fit everybody in under a salary cap.
Oh, there it is.
So that makes it certainly a challenge.
There it is.
But certainly see this one, we're going to figure out how to make it work.
Guys, I just give you right? Hey, this is them saying, yeah, we got to figure it out because we got a cap we got to work with. Like it was invented yesterday, these motherfuckers. And they're going to blame the players and make you guys, the fans, us, the fans, say, this guy's making too much. I'm only making this much. Why should he make that much? Because that's what Jerry does. That's what Steven does. I don't fall for it. Here we don't. We know it's about the Joneses playing the games. Don't fall for the okie doke.
Now wait, we still haven't reached the Stephen Jones bingo yet because there's still 1 or 2 more things he has to say.
What else did he say? Yeah.
Saying, quote, we've got ways to adjust his cap number for this season. And him in this case is actually Prescott.
Yeah.
So he is finally talking Dak money. Saying, obviously between Dak and Micah and CD, the salary cap is real for us.
There it goes.
There it is. I know, adding in there, obviously, the 3 guys that we talk about that are the priorities, they won't be able to go to the open market this year. They're going to be on this team next year, and that's a great thing. But once guys usually get to this window and they have a chance to be free, usually it's hard to get something done. Not impossible. It gets done. We've done it before. But usually, it's really hard to get something done because they want to see what the situation is out there.
And, the only thing he's saying is...
So is he almost trying to imply that Micah and CD are the ones who willingly want to hit free agency to see what their value is?
He's saying that he thinks that and this is true in maybe CD Lamb. He wants to wait till Justin Jefferson hits the free agent market and see what he gets paid. So then CD gets the next bump over that. But the point is, unless you give CeeDee Lamb something that's way beyond everything else, that's the only way he'll take the deal right now, it sounds like.
It just feels like he's trying to make a very normal part of negotiations somehow seem like the reason the negotiations aren't going the way that you might want them to.
This is basically negotiations. This is what it's called, right? But it's impossible. It's hard to get. Not impossible, it's hard to get done because we got a cap. That we just got a $400 million check.
Don't be surprised if you lowball a player and they decide to hit free agency to force you to make your offer higher because you're not going to do it voluntarily.
And that's where I call on the fans, us, to be level-headed about this and understand if you are bringing in literally billions of dollars to these owners and they're getting $400 check just for a portion of this, they should pay you a lot of money. That's just the way it works. If you believe it's a game, you believe they shouldn't get paid that much, coddled, whatever, that's fine. But in reality, these coddled players that are playing the sport, whatever, guess what? They're bringing in billions of dollars to these. Fair or not, that's the way it works. So their demand is bringing in a lot. And they get the money back through these bigger contracts. It's just the way it is. That's the way it is, and that's a business. It's just the difference in the past. The owners made all the money, and the players very little. And now it's a players make.
Now the scales are slightly more fair.
Slightly. The owners still make most of the money. The players make a little more than in the past, and that's enough to piss off the common man for some reason. I don't get it. The owners are the problems, and our owners are the worst. Stephen Jones has taken over management here, which is not a good thing. So moving on, Stephen Jones talked about injuries to this team here, right? And he was very optimistic sounding when it came to guys like Trayvon Diggs, DeMarvion Overshown. You got to remember, guys, we have wide receiver David Durden who got injured. He would have made a team, but he was a practice squad guy. Tight end John Stevens Jr.
No relation.
But he's the guy we really want to see him at tight end. All these guys are rehabbing from ACL tears. All 4 players are not only working their way back from the same injury, but are also on similar timelines.
Yeah, they all got hurt, unfortunately, around
a couple weeks.
The same time, within the same month, really.
Yeah, I mean, Overshown, Durden,
and training camp?
It was in one game. Overshown and Stevens, John
True,
Stevens.
Trayvon got hurt week 3.
Overshown and Stevens got injured in the same game and were out. Durden got injured, I think, the next day or something like this. And Diggs also got injured, week 3. So
Within a month of each other.
What did Stephen Jones have to say about all these injuries, and what's their statuses going? Injury updates here from Stephen Jones.
I think it's more realistic for training camp when you look at the injuries that they had. They'll be out there working, but participating in team activities is probably a reach, but they're certainly coming along great.
So again, just so you know, you will not see Trayvon Diggs in training camp this year. Very little, if at all. DeMarvion Overshown you will not see in training camp this year. And of course, John Stevens Jr., the tight end, and David Durden, to a lesser degree, not really caring as much. But the big name guys there, Overshown and Trayvon Diggs, they would just be, maybe when they get back to Dallas, they'll be on that field.
Yeah, and there's one name in particular we're obviously dancing around because Stephen Jones did say that he was not going to directly update, status of LVE, who's obviously dealing with the whole neck injury issue, saying that Leighton will speak to that. It's certainly an injury issue with him that he's getting his hands around. Let him speak to that.
That tells you it's not a good thing there.
Just based on that language. And remember, what's the difference between the previous statement and this one? The last one, Stephen Jones is feeling optimistic about those 4 guys, even with the nature of their injuries, even with the timeline of those injuries. But LVE, we're going to let LVE speak to that. And he's in a separate group. So 1, we already know they're not necessarily feeling optimistic about LVE. And 2, Stephen is obviously giving LVE the grace to be able to say himself he'll very likely be retiring from the NFL because, like I kind of mentioned earlier on the stream, and we all kind of know, with his neck injury history, with his personal situation, it sounds like it is now him risking his life if he continues to play in the NFL, and he might be forced to retire because of his injuries.
Yeah. So, again, that's kind of the lowdown of the injured players. Training camp-ish, towards the middle or end of it. You'll see 4 of these guys back. Of course, LVE maybe not come back at all. But without LVE there, what happens to linebacker? And he was asked this question. What did he say about our linebackers from 2023? What's the plan in 2024?
Well, I think when you move Marquise Bell down there, you've got a player that started as a safety playing linebacker. There's no question that losing Leighton, that was a difference maker in terms of what he was bringing to the table in terms of his size and length. I think that's a very fair statement, that we can be more physical and need more size at that position. I think Mike Zimmer, when he talks, he's going to echo those thoughts too. He wants more size there and more physicality there. I think Bell was outstanding, but he was a great safety when he started the season. In general, that was our scheme. More of 3 safeties, 2 linebacker scheme than a 3 linebacker, 2 safety scheme. And I think those are all things that Mike's going to get in there, and we're going to look at that, and we'll come up with a good solution that'll make us better against the run. Obviously, running the football and stopping the run are at the top of our list this offseason.
So, again, a lot about Mike Zimmer there. Interior, that's why you're looking at a lot of defensive tackles. We talked about that earlier, at least talking to them formally. Linebackers, formally. That's run-stopping mindset right here.
I was just about to say, all those 10, 12 interviews that we just had, does that not just scream run-stop to you?
Yes. Nothing says defensive edge pass rusher. It's all interior run-stop.
Yeah.
It's all linebacker and defensive nose tackle, 3 tech, 2 tech, 1 tech, 0 tech, whatever tech. I'm all in on that. So it sounds like they know their issues are at linebacker and defensive tackle, and you see him kind of touch on that. Now, trenches, let's flip it to the other side, because it's a guy that, we all talked about how great, and again, really a surprise coming out of college, all the penalties, drafted in the first round, Tyler Smith. Some real props given to Tyler Smith and his future when it comes to, what Stephen Jones said here. The Cowboys know they have a long-term possible Hall of Famer, knock on wood, one day when it comes to Tyler Smith on the left side of the offensive line between his natural spot at left guard and probably the most important position on the offensive line, especially in pass protection, left tackle. Tyler Smith is one of the top guys in the league already and, entering his 3rd year.
Yeah.
Stephen Jones kind of was like, saying that, staying at left guard still, quote, remains to be seen when it comes to him. So he could go at tackle, right? But his comments after that kind of hinted how the Cowboys organization feels about Tyler Smith at left guard. So what does Stephen Jones think about when he thinks about number 73, Tyler Smith? Who does he remind him of?
It's starting to feel like Larry Allen all over again.
Woo!
The great thing about Tyler is his versatility. He could be a great left tackle, too. Larry Allen played 1 or 2 years at left tackle, and I think he made All-Pro those years, too. Tyler's got that in him. The great news is, we have Tyler Smith. His versatility certainly brings options to the table as we look at this team moving forward.
I mean, I got to agree with him on that, and I think that you got Tyler Smith. He does have that kind of Larry Allen-ish kind of feel to him.
And let's be real, what Steven really is trying to say, especially based off of the comments that we knew from, I think, was it last week or something? He made it very clear. We are trying to work something out with Tyron Smith and bring him back, right? So, okay, great, awesome, we know that, but we also know that there is still a chance that something maybe doesn't somehow get worked out. I do think those chances are very low. But but my point is that this is what Steven is trying to say, not just as far as like the actual, at this position we're doing good or whatever. He is also talking about it from the business perspective. That versatility means that you have options on what you can do when it comes to your left tackle, left guard position, whether that is drafting someone
at guard or tackle
in the draft, because guess what? Now you have the option to see what falls to you, what you like.
Yeah.
Whether it's, again, doubling down, keeping Tyron and Tyler, obviously, the 1-2 punch there, keeping them here long term, and maybe it ends up being next year there's a left guard that it just absolutely blows your socks off.
Then you move Tyler outside a tackle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, or maybe the left tackle was, the friends we made along the way, and we find. I'm just saying, like, we have so many options.
If there's a guard that comes down and he's one of the top guys, you don't have to resign Tyler. I mean, we'll know if we're going to get Tyron Smith or not by the draft.
The Larry Allen comparison, though, is...
Listen, the thing is, that, again, like you said, baby, this comes down... Stephen Jones saying this about Tyler Smith comes down to what we do. What happens to Tyron Smith? That's he's a free agent now, right? He's going to be a free agent. So, again, it remains this whole situation is go left guard, left tackle for Tyler Smith, who can do both. Comes down to if we keep Tyron Smith or not. And if he does, what's his durability? Do we then, when he gets hurt, Tyron Smith, where's the backup going to come in? At tackle or at guard? Because Tyler Smith can do both. So that's the versatility he has. So how the Cowboys can choose to attack in free agency, like you were saying, can provide more clarity to what we're going to do, whether it's when it comes to Tyron Smith or in the draft.
And Steven's comments regarding Tyron Smith,
that's right.
Right, he said no one thinks more of Tyron Smith than us. He's a Hall of Famer all the way. We'll certainly be sitting down with him to see what it looks like for him to stay here. And, again, a very different energy from another guy who's about to, hit the free agent market, right? Tony Pollard. He's saying, Tony had a great year last year. He's another one of those guys, the type of player you want around. But that will ultimately boil down to the business side of things in terms of what we can do for Tony.
Well, I mean,
basically, will you take the $3 we're going to offer you, Tony, to come back? I do think the Cowboys will make some offer.
Yeah. Be low ball, though. You can bet your ass. Unless a team is out there that willing to give him more than what the Cowboys will, he's not coming.
Even I have to admit, I don't know what qualifies for low ball when it comes to Tony Pollard, in the sense that he was certainly overpaid when we tagged him, realistically speaking. So, underpaying him now just kind of feels like balancing out the scales. Look, I don't really.
Who knows?
I'm not here to question Tony.
I'm going to say this based on what we've heard already about, and we talked about the running back situation. Had some kind of thoughts from the Joneses about the possibility of Tony Pollard. It don't sound like he's staying in Dallas at all. The Cowboys are not even, again, they're not doing a franchise tag.
Yeah.
And we know the Cowboys not even discussing any kind of, hey, come back to Dallas yet.
He didn't even know that Quinn had gone to somewhere else. So he's obviously not really staying in the loop with what's going on in Cowboys world.
He is out of the Cowboy loop, and he's out of Dallas. That's just my thing. No matter what's being said, great year and one of those guys and a player you want, but it's about the business. That's what he always is saying.
And speaking of business, this definitely feels like a business comment here by Stephen Jones as far as free agent Stephon Gilmore, saying, quote, obviously Stephon Gilmore was a great addition for us last year. We're very pleased with what he did for this team. We have nothing but respect for him.
So he's not.
That's like a very neutral statement that sounds like I'm not trying to praise you too much, because then you're going to use that as, you got to pay me more, because we already know from other previous comments they are interested in trying to bring him back.
There's a word about that, but
right. So if that's the case, then they're obviously not going to toot his horn for him and raise his own price.
Here's the thing: when I look at the statement that you just read, Stephon Gilmore, it's like he's being as nice as it's one of two things. Cowboys have no interest at all in him, and he's gone. It sounds like he's just like, have a good career. We have nothing but respect for him. Peace out. But it sounds like it's a negotiations going on right now. It sounds like the Cowboys are back behind the scenes saying, everything is fine. We're not interested at all. We're just looking to say respect and much love. No. To me, it sounds like Stephen Jones is like, hey, listen, we got to kind of put this front up because we do want him back. We don't want to, like, exactly what you say, baby. We don't want to give him too much props about his season last year and how we feel about him because, well, Stephen Jones is going to get taken to the cleaners like he always gets taken to. But with someone like Gilmore, I don't expect to get the hit this year to be over $8 million this year, right? I think maybe we have to take a $3 million hit next year at worst. And if that's the case, you might as well go Jalen Johnson from the Bears if you're going to go that way with Gilmore. So it has to be a good deal in my mind, $7-8 million this year to keep Gilmore here in the fold. And I think that's what, I think that's why he was very like clean cut about this. I think Stephen Jones knows he can't say much good things about Gilmore right now because he's on our radar, so to speak. So, Brandon Cooks came here with Gilmore in a trade. So what outside of CeeDee Lamb, which we already discussed the deal, they're trying to get him signed, even though there's a cap all of a sudden now. There's a cap. We can't sign him all of a sudden. Yeah, sure. What is the deal at wide receiver when it comes to behind a guy like CeeDee Lamb? We know we got Brandon Cooks. We got Gallup. Will he be here? We got Tolbert. Cavante Turpin, draft, free agent. What's going to happen?
Steven said, we're not going to get into any details as to where we're going to go. We feel good about that position, though. Thought Tolbert had a real breakout year in terms of what he did for us. Certainly, Jalen Brooks did a lot of good things. We had him active, and Dak felt comfortable with him as a receiver. I feel good about that position. Obviously, Brandon Cooks is just like Stephon Gilmore. Not only is he a great player and good for us on the field, but what he brought off the field, his veteran leadership, was undeniable. I thought he was outstanding. And then you certainly have CD. It's a good group. So also, again, super, super interesting, the difference between the way that Steven brought up Brandon Cooks versus Gilmore. Because I think Cooks is done in Dallas, and I think Gilmore is the more likely one of the two to return.
I think
due to money.
Yeah.
Let me be real.
But I think the biggest thing he said about that there was that Gallup wasn't even mentioned when he mentioned someone like Jalen Brooks. He mentioned Jalen Brooks did a lot of good things. Tolbert, Brandon Cooks was kind of like Stephon Gill. You know what I mean? Leadership. Not one word about Michael Gallup, guys. And as we know, Gallup's going to be cut. I mean, I'm saying it. I'm calling it. Michael Gallup's going to be a June 1st cut, and that's $9 million or something like that. $9.5 million in that range. Again, he's out of here, guys, unfortunately, for Michael Gallup, who had a really bad year. Another second bad year after that ACL tear. After this organization paid him a lot of money coming off a fucking injury of an ACL. So, it's the Joneses striking again. Now, as far as the team was concerned, we're going to revisit this in a minute, but they kind of went asking questions about, the competition committee and new rules and this and that. And he addressed one of the new rules, which was the fumbling the ball out of the back of the end zone. He said, quote, that rule died. He said the rule's not happening, at least not in 2024. So I just wanted to update you on that. And then, we're talking about the scouting combine, the draft. He said, quote, they asked him, what about the desire to try to get enough free agents so you can draft the best player available for the April draft? And he said, quote, going into this draft, you never want to be drafting for need. You want to draft guys that can jump in and play.
Again, going back to that whole options commentary when it comes to Tyler Smith, I'm telling you, anything that gives us options, that gives us that freedom to be able to go after the best player available within, those few positions that we're looking at, especially in those first few rounds where we really need a hit. Oh, man. Let's go in there without a need. That's the key. We need it every year. We especially need it this year.
Let's just try to fill in the needs. You know how you do that, though, baby?
How?
Free motherfucking agency. That's simple as that.
Not so free, but yes.
You have to do free agency or else what's the use? That's called the all-in factor. We'll see if they really do that. I don't think they will. The last thing before we get to the culture of the Cowboys and the all-in and the finale here at MCF for tonight. Quicker than I thought tonight. But I want to kind of bring up his thoughts on this guy, Mozzie Smith.
Mozzie.
What were Stephen Jones' thoughts about Mozzie Smith after his rookie season?
Stephen said, quote, "We have nothing but confidence in myself." I think it was a transition for him that he was trying to get his hands around, the technique and the way that he played in Michigan versus what, Dan was trying to incorporate in his game. So I think Mozzie can take a big jump in terms of the second year with him. He's got all the right skill sets and all the right intangibles to go out there and get the job done. And we believe he's going to make a big jump in the second year.
I just got to say, why did they make him lose 35 pounds? I want to know. 330 to 295.
I'm still genuinely waiting for some kind of Dallas Cowboy reporter or something to ask that question specifically. Was the weight loss... what was the plan? Yeah, what was the plan? For Mozzie. I have a feeling that at some point in the off season we might hear something about that, but I have a feeling we won't hear about it until he comes back to training camp, probably weighing another 10 to 15 pounds. Because remember, however he lost those 30 pounds, it's probably going to take him the entire off season to regain 15 to 20.
Yeah, and
I'm just being real.
Well, here's a good thing with strength and conditioning, which we might need more of those guys, although they think strength coaches were ranked pretty high.
True.
But with strength and conditioning in an offseason with the Cowboys without an injury, which he's been not injured, of course, so that's a good sign for him to kind of really build up muscle and then add the poundage you need for that 330 frame and holding the two combo blocks and double teams you're going to get. You got to keep those guys there with you. If they engage and you don't get off the line of scrimmage fast enough, he's going to get blocked. He's going to not be able to disengage from the block. And then when they finally leave him and go to the second level, I don't care if you got Superman at linebacker. He's getting blocked most of the time, and they're getting a 4-yard to 8-yard plus run. So Mozzie, we need the weight back on. The muscle incorporated with that this offseason should be very beneficial. But again, like Jalen Tolbert, I'm not going to say he's done forever. He just had a bust rookie season. He needs to show a lot more in year 2, like Jalen Tolbert started showing us.
So, anyway, that was Stephen Jones' commentary there.
Yeah, because we talk about the culture here in Dallas and that what's going on for the last 20... I know we have 29 plus years,
but... Micah said in one of his last interviews that he's done, I can't remember exactly which one it was or where it was.
He wanted to change the culture. I think it was his own podcast with Stephen A. Smith's show.
I was about to say, I can't remember if it was. I don't think it was his own podcast. That's why at first I was going to say it was, and I'm like, I don't think it was. So I don't want to misspeak there. But the point is, one of the last times we heard from Micah, he himself said, we got to change the culture here.
And he wanted to be part of that change too, Micah. Yeah.
Stephen Jones says that he doesn't think that the team has a culture problem. And obviously that has that was one of the... trending topics throughout this offseason, right? The culture in Dallas, the problem with the culture in Dallas.
Especially after the loss to Green Bay, right? In the playoffs, players talked about this. You said it yourself, it's Micah, but other players spoke about this too. Like you said, baby, what is the culture problem that doesn't exist in Dallas, according to Stephen Jones?
Stephen said, from the organization on down, we feel good about our culture. You always want to be better, I will say that. If your results aren't winning the Super Bowl, I think everyone is saying, how do you ultimately be the last guy standing? But I think overall, between organizationally and between our coach and our personnel department, I think our leadership on our team is outstanding. You're always going to have somebody that's going to say something that might be their particular thought process on, why we may have come up short. But I don't think in general, personally, I don't think it's an issue.
It's your typical Stephen Jones double talk. I'm not even addressing it. Who cares? It's just... they don't believe there's a culture issue because from the top of the organization down, the top of the organization, Jerry Jones, is out there getting paternity tested, sexually harassing women.
I'm surprised they even addressed it. I'm not going to lie. That to me is the bigger part. I can't believe
it was a question.
Even brought it up.
It was a question they asked about him. But the point is if you talk about the top down, Jerry Jones is driving drunk on wine. I'm just saying he's sexually harassing women. He's impregnating women, cheating on his wife. I'm just saying, you're showing us what from the top on down is exactly like the way the owner is. It feels like sometimes mismanaged, sloppy, and drunk. Anyways, the final thing, which is the big question that I have going into this season, and I'm going to hold it over Jerry's face, is the all-in crap that Jerry states, is going to be going on this year. Now, we've been saying this, baby. What does all in mean?
It means. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
What does all in mean when it comes to Jerry Jones is all in? Stephen Jones is all in. An all in, when they say it, is different than what we all know the definition means. So, Jerry Jones said, of course, going all in. What did Stephen Jones say about Jerry's comments going all in this year? Not last year, not the year. This year, he said, we're going all in this year. That's per Jerry Jones with the all in quote. So we got the clowns. We got Stephen Jones. What did he say about this all in?
So Stephen said, quote, I've never known Jerry not to be all in any given year. But certainly we've got a great team put together. The last 3 years we've won a lot of football games. I think 36. And I think certainly when we have to improve is the postseason. We got to get the right kind of guys who step up and make big plays in the postseason. It's been a challenge in terms of our success there. And that's where we have to improve. And he says that the team is taking a holistic view
Really?
of the organization and the team specifically. Like, that's how they're viewing it, adding in their quote. Obviously, being here at the Combine is going to be a great time to spend some time in terms of looking not only at the young players that are going to be out there, but just spending time together internally. Spending a lot of time talking about what we have to get accomplished, we think, in order to take that next step. Just to let you guys know, my personal thoughts on what holistic view means. That just means we're placing the blame everywhere. But if you kind of wrote like the
holy, like on everything,
yes, it's not holistic as in holistic. It means holistic as in
like the whole pie.
WHOLE.
Yeah, not holistic like.
Now that's probably the lamest joke I've said in a while. But my point is that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they're obviously not trying to put the blame solely on the offense, solely on the defense, solely on the coaching. Like, it is an all over type of thing. But I hope
they include the front office.
The thing that bothers me just a little bit, though, is the comment before that, because you can't say the comment before that and then follow it up by saying, well, we're taking a holistic view to the team. Right? He's saying that we have to get the right kind of guys who step up in the postseason, and that it's been a challenge in terms of success there.
So we're going to stick with our own guys.
And again, just straight up from what he's saying, we like the guys we have because they're winning a lot of regular season games, and that's very good and necessary. The problem is stepping it up in the playoffs. We have not found guys who have stepped up in the playoffs the way that we need to, the way that we want to. That's how I'm interpreting that statement, that the Cowboys have not done a good job of finding guys to step up in the playoffs. They found guys that step up in the regular season, and we can't get it. Like, we've all said it here. There's no way around our regular season success, right? That's it. Doesn't matter if it's against good, bad teams. You know,
unfortunately,
the postseason is obviously where we keep falling flat on our faces.
The point is that, you know, it just sounds almost, the way you made it sound is like it's a dig on Dak a little bit, because he's not a guy who can win.
That's kind of what I was trying to hint at. Not even just Dak, just in general, all of our guys, because that's the point. Like, how many guys have been here for
he's calling them not winners, right?
Yeah, he's saying, like, you want, do some shit in the playoffs, do some shit in the postseason.
Yeah, but what he doesn't understand is that his hands involved in this is what makes them slow down from getting in the playoffs. The fact that they manage them poorly is the problem, and that's the problem I see going forward. Now, keep going, baby, because he didn't stop there.
Yeah.
You know, he's adding. You said it's about Dak, but he's adding. He talked about the 3 contracts. Dak, as you can see on our thumbnail, Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. So what do you say about these 3 extensions?
I would anticipate, with looking ahead at our key contracts that we'd like to address, we will be all in. I would anticipate we'll be all in at the end of this year. So when you say, is there any thought, we will push the hell out of it. It will be going all in on different people than you've done in the past. We'll be going all in. We've seen some things out of some of the players that we want to be all in on. Yes, I would say that you will see us this coming year not build it for the future. It's the best way I've ever said, and that ought to answer a lot of questions.
So that being our last, none of that being the last comment that I wanted to present for tonight before we wrap it up and get your comments and your guys' thoughts in the chat.
Am I the only one who feels like that answered none of them?
I mean, to me, just like he's just saying.
I guess the one answer, or the one supposedly, it'll be going all in on different people than you've done in the past.
Right. So that means what? That means like Brandon Cooks or somebody else. Maybe it means somebody else other than Michael Gallup. Maybe somebody else other than LVE.
Can I, again,
those are their
the
guys.
way that my delusional heart wants to take it, and I fully admit this is just me being delusional.
Let's hear it.
Going all in on different people than you've done in the past. Free agency! That's the first thing that came to mind. Like, yeah, we're talking about, like, the guys, like, our contracts, our long-term guys, but the only place that we haven't gone all in on that would actually be different is free agency. I'm sorry. At least in recent years.
And he'll say,
we've paid big receivers before. We've paid quarterbacks before.
And he also said not building it for the future. That's the other thing, too.
Yeah, so like I said, my little delusional heart wants to take that and take it all the way to the fucking bank and run with it.
You know,
that somehow means free agency.
You know, I take it.
Cut it back down to earth.
Yeah, the reality part is that means no Michael Gallup and no LVE, and that's a change for them. That's in their mind. That's going all in because we're going to go with a free agent or a receiver, or Jalen Tolbert's going to step up. That's what they're thinking. That's their big move for the all-in move.
And my other final kind of point, a lot of those in between bubble guys, for example, I know this sounds crazy. I think a guy like Dorrance Armstrong is gone.
Well, I mean, he's going to be gone
in the sense of like. Typically, I think the Cowboys might make more of an effort to bring back. You get what I mean?
That's how they're deviating from the guys that are going all in. They went in their mind. They went all in on Dorrance Armstrong, you know, and now they're letting him go. They went all in on Michael Gallup.
That's what I'm trying to say. So another example is let's say like we somehow rolled the clock back. So the way that we signed Terrence Steele off of that injury, Michael Gallup off of that injury, it makes me think that if there is a guy who is currently maybe injured on the bubble and maybe on the chance of coming back, maybe he's not as much, because again, to me, we're,
What are you thinking about that?
That's what I'm saying. So maybe Gilmore,
but it's not ACL. That's not, a big difference.
No, and then his injury is a different one. Different type of injury, but the point is that instead of bringing back a guy like Gilmore who already has maybe a injury type of situation, maybe the Cowboys do go in a different direction with a slightly healthier guy, even if he's maybe not as talented, or maybe he's a little more talented when they end up paying more for him. That's
I hope so.
Like I said, just me personally speculating and also being a dash delusional.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to give my thoughts here, and then we'll get you guys' thoughts here. The final, mine are quick. I agree with pretty much everything you're saying. More or less, maybe it's more about we make these moves on these contracts. We talked about it the other day. And then you go out there, and this is what the Cowboys would have to do for me to believe they're going all in. I think re-signing Tyron Smith and re-signing Stephon Gilmore for about $7-8 million apiece, that's something they would do probably more than not because it's kind of their trade in Gilmore. It's their drafted guy in Tyron Smith. So I think those are more probable. And then the ones that are less probable, Derrick Henry for $5 million or under. That's out there. But they're going to want to go cheaper because in their mind, a running back, well, we can get another running back for $2 million. And they'll do the same thing. Rico Dowdle, will he be re-signed? All these things matter of who is the player the Cowboys want to bring in to address that run game that we just heard Stephen Jones talking about. That they want to get fixed, run, stop, and
especially with
get
some
the
of
run
your
game
points
going.
Earlier in the stream about the guys available to draft.
Exactly. So and that's not even available. That was last year's draft. That was the guys from last year, from the undrafted and from that pool. So all I'm trying to say is Henry or someone lesser, Zach Moss. We went through some names, AJ Dillon. One of these guys with like another with the reverse of what they do. As the other running back, that's what probably the direction I think the Cowboys are going to go on the cheaper route of things. But Derrick Henry, that would be like an all-in type move. I think Azeez Al-Shaair from the Titans, before that the Niners at linebacker. Even if you draft a linebacker, you got to get, I think, a veteran player in the mix. Because the veteran part is what's missing at linebacker right now. And then, again, guys, don't forget Grover Stewart. All right, Azeez Al-Shaair probably run about $7-8 million at linebacker right now. Maybe that goes up. But Grover Stewart is a nose tackle, defensive lineman, interior run stopping, much better than Jonathan Hankins. He's going to run you $8 to $10 million, but he's worth it. Those moves right there. We still got $20 million under the cap. Now that's worth it. That's an all in. If you're going to sign Jonathan Hankins. You're not going to address the interior, the nose tackle, the defensive tackle. If you're going to, try to roll with, only a rookie, even if it's a first or second round guy at linebacker, taking on all that responsibility without leadership as far as experience. If you're going to start playing around at cornerback and then maybe try to see if Deshaun Wright can cut it. Fuck that shit. Or throw a rookie in the mix. I'm just saying these are the things you got to be aware that this would not be going all in. This would be going all in from the Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones side of shit. So, yeah. Grover Stewart for about 10 at most. Azeez Al-Shaair at linebacker for 8. Someone like Derrick Henry or a little less at running back. You got to improve that run game for $5 million, and that's maybe combined at running back. Stephon Gilmore, $7-8 million. Tyron Smith, $7-8 million. That's our own guy. Come on. That's easy cooking right there for the Cowboys to get an all-in type of move that Jerry Jones said was going to happen. And Steve Jones saying we're not looking towards the future. So then let's go now and see what we're going to do instead of talk about the goddamn salary cap. Any and every extension you make is actually an all-in move in the sense of you're opening up money now so you can use it now. That's what you do with all-in. Instead, Stephen Jones is crying about extensions because there's a cap there, which he knows, and we all know that cap, yeah, he might get $30 million a year for CeeDee Lamb. He's going to save us $12 million, $13 million on the cap this year. That's what they don't tell you, but we know. We already know. Come on, Cowboy fans, we got this. We know this. So keep them on their toes and make them go all in if they're serious about this shit. That's all I'm saying. That's all. So what's the chat saying about this topic as we, roll it in, roll it down here, roll it out for the night?
Oh, El Cool said, I heard Jerry Jones only buys one-ply toilet paper for the players' locker room.
Oh, boy. I wouldn't be surprised.
So, I also have a question for you. Baby, actually, it's not my question. It's Snug X's question. He said, question for the chat, it's this easy. Would you go through 6 years of cap hell for one Super Bowl?
Yes.
Or no? I said...
Hell
fuck
yeah.
it. Give me 10 years of cap hell because we already gave 10 years of cap hell for free.
Yeah. We had 10 years of Dak for cheap. We had 10 years of, not 10, we had 5 years of times when we could have used that money and Jones has said, let's keep rolling it forward.
And I was
not
about
help
to
the team.
say everyone in the chat agrees, but then Sledhead50 said, I'm not giving up 10 years for one Super Bowl.
What I'm saying is I'll give up 5 or 6 years with no question. 10, a little more difficult to digest, but you can still slip in there. You could be in cap hell. Doesn't mean you're going to lose. There's teams that are in cap situations that they have a bad year or two and then start rebounding. So I'll take cap hell, whatever you want to call it. Give me a Super Bowl, and we could maybe sneak in and still be competitive in those 10 years. And you just never know.
Again, we're already losing for free. I don't.
Exactly.
I can't.
You're giving it up anyways. Yeah.
I don't care.
Give me the goddamn Super Bowl, goddammit. Let's get that 6 and beyond.
Oh, exactly. So just I don't know. Sorry, just Sledhead saying that he wouldn't give it up. I'm just like, we're already losing for free. Anyway, I'm sorry. Back to the chat.
I want to hit
course.
the chat up. Let's finish it up with the chat and Stephen Jones' comments.
Oh, rolling back a little bit here. I know, I'm trying to get to those points there. So Seabass said, they should sign important team guys and still go all in, but just signing their own players, that's such a Jones move.
Yeah.
And that would infuriate many. Same old shit, different toilet.
And
that's why I said to me that in my little delusional heart, it's hard not to take one or two of those statements and want to take it all the way to the free agency bank.
Yeah.
I'm restraining myself with the memory of Cowboy off seasons past, right? I want to believe that we do something differently here. The first moves that the Cowboys make will be very telling. So, and like I said, credit where credit's due. At least Steven isn't out here blurting, our personal business for everyone and their mom to know about, even though the things that he didn't really comment on were things that we already, knew about. It's not really a secret that the Cowboys wanted to extend Dak and that they're going to work on it eventually.
Yeah,
or Micah or CeeDee.
Yeah.
So anyway, Matt Batten, appreciate that here. What's up? Let me see. Oh, he said if he's serious right now, go get a great defensive tackle, linebacker, and running back in free agency and prove it to the fans. Talk is cheap, Stephen Jones. So
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with 100% because it's all just audio said
and if
all
you
in. It ain't
rolling
no
it back
real
to
in.
the Mozzie comments, Dak delusional fans with more excuses, said that they tried to make Mozzie a quick off-ball guy, but that's not his game.
And I've said that, multiple times as far as, Mozzie losing those 35 pounds. Is that Dan Quinn? Was that Stephen Jones? Will McClay? Who was that? I want to know that answer. Why is that happening? because I was saying this kind of half-assed last 10 minutes ago or so. Mozzie Smith getting off the ball fast. He looks so good out there. When he gets off the ball at the right time, the man, you can see why the Cowboys drafted him. But, baby, that's like 25% of the time. 75% of the time, he's always slow off the ball, loss of weight or not. And that is the issue. So if he's just a hair late, he gets manhandled. And that we cannot afford. So 1 out of 4 plays he does well, that's not good enough to stop the run. So Mozzie's got to get the weight back, and I don't think it's really affecting his get-off. There's got to be something else we got to do, and that's why Coach Z, Zaganina, that guy has a temper. Let's go. Let's get Mozzie big, strong again, and then let's get the right techniques and stuff to get him up the ball faster.
I need a lot of hurt feelings in this building.
I do. I need these guys.
A lot of hurt feelings.
I don't mind if they get pampered.
Grown man tears.
They had this report card we talked about earlier. I don't mind if they get pampered, hot tubs and physical training, keeping them in good shape. We need these guys at tip top, but hurt their fucking feelings when it comes to coaching. Hurt their feelings, make them pissed, make them dig deeper. That's what matters. Not, it's important to have the health stuff and the hot tubs and the masseuses and all that shit. Give it to them. But then also give it to them on the field when you're coaching them. Because we haven't had that kind of coaching in a while, and Zimmer's going to bring some of that. I'm hoping that Ziganina is also going to bring that. And that defensive line is going to wake the fuck up a little bit more, which is what's needed.
So Pioneer also saying, I wonder if he got sick or something, because he lost 40 pounds, really fast.
Yeah, that was a managed thing.
Honestly, my personal, pet theory there, I'm guessing that maybe he didn't have the healthiest eating habits and that, just the increased activity of being in the NFL combined with probably, some clean eating for honestly not even that long, right? You saw it. He basically dropped those 30 pounds in the span of not even 3 months. Yeah. So to me, just that simple thing, especially he's a young guy in his prime, putting in lots of physical work. Yeah,
well, I think they took a chance.
Not crazy that he lost 30 pounds within that frame.
I agree, and I think that they were willing to, because like you said, his age, his youth and everything. I think he can afford to kind of go that route and see if it helps or not, and then you can put it back on later in his situation.
Yeah, and the only reason I say that is, again, it's definitely on the much more extreme end of weight loss and definitely leans right, veers right into that, that is unhealthy and unsustainable. But typical healthy weight loss is somewhere between 1 to 2 pounds a week for just a normal average person. So that's about 24 pounds to 28 pounds in the span of about 3 months. And that's for a normal person who's just going hard at the gym and trying to eat right or whatever. And let's bring the sad reality. It's much easier for young guys to lose weight than it usually is for
the older guys, yeah.
Yeah, not just older guys, but just women in general. Men are just physically in a position to be able to shed those pounds much quicker if they're doing, high impact exercise. Especially weightlifting the way that Mozzie's doing. Seriously, just some heavy weightlifting and eating a little better. Dude's lucky he's not walking around looking like CeeDee Lamb. Jokes aside. Anyway. No one's here to talk about weightlifting and protein or any of that.
Well, we need it for Mozzie, so we get that first round.
You see, in Chalk Montano said, I was trying to get Mozzie's size, 335, but all muzzle. Yeah. Like a Zangief. Hopefully I said that right.
Again, that's going to be the... Like I said it, I don't know if you were here, Montana, for that, but I was saying, with the offseason training, which always builds muscle for all these rookies, they never had a full NFL offseason program. So with that... He's going to build muscle. He's going to go from 295, let's say 315,
let's
say muscle, and then you add some poundage behind that, some fat.
I'm expecting 15 to 20 pounds of weight gain.
Yes.
And again, majority muscle, that's hopefully the only good possibility here. He does have the chance to be able to regain some of that weight in more muscle mass instead of obviously just general mass, but... gaining 15, 20 pounds of muscle is a lot harder than gaining 15, 20 pounds of fat and a lot less fun. Let me tell you that, right? So
muscle weighs more than fat.
Oh, but yes, it's honestly, it's crazy. Where it feels like the same way that sometimes it feels like we're talking about Monopoly money, it feels like we're talking about like I don't know, robots. And I don't mean that in like a fake way, just in a like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around someone being that physically large.
Shape, yeah. Well,
you know, like, just like, I'm a tiny person here. That's what I'm saying. Like, my perspective, it's like I'm looking at a bookshelf or something. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, our bookshelf's like 6'5", right? I don't know. Oh, anyway, joking. Oh, let me go ahead and do some of the final shout outs here in the chat and things like that as we start to wrap things up tonight. An extra late MCF night, but we had quite a bit to talk about, especially with last night having to take off.
Yeah,
you know,
2 hours. We had 2 hours tonight. Well, we got 2 days worth of stuff to talk about, and tomorrow we'll hear more. Maybe from Jerry might be out there. You never know. Although I think he's going to be best served not being out there with that paternity case situation. But, there'll be other interviews coming, I'm sure, and we'll hear from different people here during this week at Scouting Combine. Tomorrow we'll hear some more names and new positions that the Cowboys had formal versus informal interviews with. So stay tuned for that. And, we'll go from there, right, guys? I mean, tomorrow we'll be back to bring you the news, info, and updates on our Cowboys. And again, kind of the second, third main day of the Scouting Combine. And really, they get kicked off on the field now. A lot more of that's going to be happening.
I only want to draft guys who need to buy from specialty-sized clothing stores. How about that? Can we make that a requirement? Anyway, huge shout out. Thank you so much. The sponsor of the week.
Oh, hell yeah.
Your Cash App King 123 weeks in a row. By the way, he's also the back-to-back sponsor of the week. So I got to give the proper due to McLovin.
And he's currently the leader on both of those boards as we speak. He's coming for that 4-peat, 3-peat combo. Much love to the man, McLovin. Also, to the top dog, Dwayne Broussard with 60 points on the Stream Boss. Much love to Mr. DB, the OG. But doesn't stop there because we have ourselves a champion now. As our membership gifting champion. It is none other than Skeptical Fan always. Staying skeptical. This man had 3 months in a row of domination when we first had this. So much love to Skeptical. Back at top where he belongs. Breaking a 3-way tie tonight, taking over the board, and has a 4 gifted lead for this week as we're closing in on Sunday. So he might go back-to-back as well, as like our 90s Cowboys. Much love to everybody. McLovin's in the lead on the other boards and Skeptical on the board. Everybody who's repping it is leading it right now. So appreciate you all in all different ways. Cannot do this without your love and support. As well as in the After Dark sessions as well. So let me shout everybody out one more time here. Those that dropped the love tonight, like Dwayne Broussard, Skeptical Fan, Dustin Roberts, and Calvin Richard. Appreciate you all. And then when it comes to the After Dark sessions, the last 2 nights basically, McLovin, he's one of the big ballers there. Appreciate you, McLovin, as always. Again, in the lead in the Cash App Kingdom, in the lead as a sponsor of the week. But we also had others dropping the love in here, like McLovin, Grateful Nomad, Gloria, Sco971, Smokey, Miko, and of course Snug X in the house. So appreciate you all who dropped the love from above over the last 2 nights on After Dark, on the After Dark sessions. Now, why the hell is Stephen Jones in my screen here? Damn it. We had enough of him for 2 years of Stephen Jones. We had enough of him tonight. But he gave us a little more insight of where the Joneses' heads are at. And unfortunately, on most of these topics, very deep up their asses. At least in my opinion. Anyways, baby. I think we got everybody covered in the house, right? Did you do the shout-outs yet or not yet?
No, I have to do the shout-outs on the chat.
Hit them up.
Of course, Chalk Time on 10-808. And by the way, that is awesome. Keep it up, man.
Yeah.
Pioneer, of course. Have a great night. Matt Batten, glad to have you here tonight with us.
Appreciate
Of course,
you.
The man Seabass over everything.
Over everything.
So, let me see. Who else is here?
I gotta put that up here. Let me put the over everything.
Sledhead 50. Snug X. You know why he's here. Dak Delusional Fans with more excuses.
By the way, Snug X, you can see him. One of the over everything members in the past. 2 times now for Seabass. He had it 1 month. Now he's again back at it. We'll be having him on here for at least 2 sessions here on My Cowboys Family. Appreciate you, Mr. Seabass.
Oh, cool in the house, of course. Much love. Swertin. Hello.
Denver fan Swertin. I see you.
Let me see who else is here. Stick Aguilar 04, take it easy. Yeah, Jerry Jones has definitely been all in before. Traveling Fools, have a great night.
As you can tell by his paternity test. Yes.
Well, we'll be able to tell soon with the paternity test. Hasn't been proven yet.
Trust me.
James Hurd, take it easy. Let me see. That's actually as far back as I can go. So with that said, everyone here chilling, hanging with us, thank you so much. Appreciate you all.
Yeah.
Have a great night. But baby, why do we do what we do here at MCF?
It's about that navy blue. Silver too. Always that star of everything. You remember, right?
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw.
Good, bad, or ugly.
No matter what, here on MCF, we rip that star over everything. And My Cowboys Family, 6.5 years and beyond on YouTube, representing with the family. Appreciate you all. 34,100 now. Family members, subscribers. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond, damn it. Thank you all for rocking with us in the chat, dropping the knowledge all night long. All night. Thank you all for dropping the knowledge all night long. Appreciate, humbled by the drops of love from above, whether on the After Dark session or right here tonight on My Cowboys Family. Can't do this without your love and support. And also, it is time to drop out and clock out for the night here on this channel. So we'll see you back again, relocked and reloaded tomorrow for more scouting combine info and any kind of, quotes, information that's floating around out there that's reliable and useful to what the reality is for our Cowboys. On that note, guys, it's time to get on out of here, drop out for the night. Baby, before we do that, what do we got to do?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. It's official. The beat's been dropped. Thank you all for dropping in with us for another one here on My Cowboys Family. Yes, another MCF. A wrap up here on the news, info, and updates of the day on our nightly chats. Cowboys chat style here with Jerry. His own paternity issues going on. But Steven the Clown Jones over there running the show. Money command, contract man. Got to figure out how to extend these three guys. Talked about that and so much more. Go and watch it. Replay on the replay. Give your comments down below. Let us know what you got to say. Here on MCF, it's always about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star of everything. Never ever forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone in the house, especially those repping that star of everything. Hit that like for the stream. It helps the analytics. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep it growing. Hit that bell. Set it to all notifications. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at My Cowboys Family and all social media. Appreciate you all, guys. Truly have a safe night. We'll see you back tomorrow for another one. Stay safe. Peace out. And never, ever forget, yeah, Cowboys!
Monk on the beat.